Welcome everyone to the next part of Zelda Month at Home. This time we are going to be doing some Zelda-themed tier lists alongside I was about to say new competitor. That's not a new character.
Guess we can we'll roll with Kevinade.
So we have Kevinade this time, and we're going to be doing some Zelda tier lists. Obviously, the most important thing to rate about Zelda is the games, because that's the whole point of a game franchise, is to release public titles and have opinions on them.
And then we all put them on F and everyone gets mad. I mean, what can you do?
I mean, let's be honest here.
Let me just make it clear right now. Link's crossbow training is going on S tier.
You know what?
Yep.
I could agree. Let's go in somewhat chronological order, starting with Zelda 1. Many hate this game, actually. It's decisive.
I mean, because it is the first game, it's going to be shaky, especially being on the NES so early. But, I mean, it's really that situation where it's like nostalgia versus actual game mechanics. Because I feel like more than half the games on here played extremely better than the original Zelda anyways, but just because since it's like the whole cult classic thing, I feel like you kind of have to put it high up on the list anyways.
I feel like people go against this game because it tells you literally nothing.
Yeah, that's the other situation is that you don't know anything throughout the game. Like literally without a manual or anything to look off of, it's like almost impossible to beat.
Because it does not tell you that the sword is in the cave, so you might miss that. You could be looking for you could be looking for Dungeon 1 and literally walk into Dungeon 8. Or no, probably about 6.
True. Yeah.
There's secrets everywhere. It never tells you that you need the silver arrow to beat Ganon, so if you walk in that room, you soft lock the entire game. But other than that, I find myself enjoying it.
I still think
just
it's
kind of wandering
game,
around,
despite just having a lot of really rocky features about it.
I would say it's a solid. Yeah, maybe I'd give it a B.
I'd give it a solid C or B.
Here's where the pot gets stirred. Zelda 2.
Here's where it gets interesting.
Personally, I don't think it's that bad.
I think for as much as I've actually played it, it's not terrible, but it's also, I think it suffers kind of from the same issues where you're kind of aimless half the time, don't really know where to go, especially because there is dialogue that actually does guide you in the right direction, but it's also like jargon half the time as well.
Yeah, it is entirely optional.
And it's also just a hard game too.
It is hard. It sets a lot of different standards for Zelda. It is an entirely different game gameplay-wise. It's 2D, and it's like jumping, slashing, intuitive dungeon.
Yeah, they make it more of a platformer than it really is like a dungeon crawler, I guess.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't call it one of the better ones.
I mean, it's not like a platformer, but yeah, I'd say it's okay.
I would not call it F, despite what most people would.
But I probably would put it closer to D.
A reach would be for me to say C, but I think a universal compromise can be D.
Yeah, I think universally you could call this game a D.
See, now it gets fun with Link to the Past.
When we get to Link to the Past,
this game,
honestly, it's teetering between like an S or an A for me.
I would say this is top 3. Top 2 even. For me, it's hard childhood, but also it is genuinely fun to play through. Now, yes, it is also slightly aimless. Especially in the intro part, you just kind of wander around until you figure out where you can go.
I think it's kind of stuck in a time where a lot of the things are a little more intuitive, though, especially with being on the Super Nintendo. I think a lot of things in terms of graphics make things more obvious anyways, but I do agree that a lot of it does come down to being a little less obvious when it comes to the puzzles too.
And I just think that at this point in time, it actually has fun gameplay mechanics. There's
Yeah.
I think it introduces the hook shot, the hammer. There's 8 dungeons in the dark world and 3 in the light world. There
Right. This
tons
is
of
like,
dungeon crawling.
a lot of dungeons, and I honestly like, in terms of Link's arsenal, in terms of items, this might be like at least top 3 for me when it comes to just like the items that you have in this game.
And they all actually do something. I mean, for me,
I'm not even blinded by nostalgia because I haven't played this one as much as the other ones. I would give it still like A for me, honestly.
For me, it would go here, but I think this will do. See, we go from that, though, to yet again another one that I cannot put down, and that's
the problem.
Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening, I have to put high because I do have nostalgia for that.
Going from Link to the Past to Link's Awakening, that's an incredible shift. It's almost the same game.
It really is just like a portable Link to the Past.
But it's really good.
It is really good.
And you would think it's good because it got 2 more ports. Link's Awakening DX. So now it's in vibrant color. And this is the first one I actually played.
Right.
I got it on 3DS Virtual Console, and
that's what I remember playing it with too, is when you got it on Virtual Console.
It's granted, yes, it's the same game, but now it looks good.
Right.
So I don't know how you would rate these two, because they're the same thing.
I guess because DX also added like an extra dungeon too, I believe.
Oh, it added the color dungeon.
Right, so I would put that as an A, and then maybe the original could be like a B.
Because the color dungeon, now you can tell what it is because it's in color.
Exactly.
And that's actually a pivotal moment in the game too, is the color dungeon. But then that also doesn't ignore the fact that we got it on the Switch.
That is true.
Now, my gripe with this one is, although everybody says the art style is beautiful and it looks amazing, I don't actually think it looks that good.
I think, the art style could have gone a lot better. I think it kind of suffers from the same thing with the Diamond and Pearl remakes, where it's really divided just because of the art style. I think the game itself is fine, but
it's
also
still
at the same time,
game.
With being modern and also having like a $60 price tag for a remake, like almost a 1-to-1 remake of like a nice Game Boy game, I feel like it's kind of a ripoff.
Yeah, personally, I still like playing through it. It's the same game, but I do believe that it definitely got hit with the modernization.
Yeah.
So, I think this is fair. DX original Switch. Because, I would say it's still very middle of the line.
Right in between, like C and B. Because it's still a good game. I just think the remake didn't really do it enough justice.
I know I'm going to say this every time, but it's kind of true. When you move to the next Zelda game, everything changes, and so does the dimensions of the game. Ocarina of Time.
This is where it gets interesting.
There's so much to do, so much to see, and it's all like it was the first in 3D. It has two different. It's essentially 2 games in one.
You could call it the same situation where, like, Link to the Past, you had the first 3 dungeons that were kind of just the warm-up for the rest of the game. And then this is kind of the same situation.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think it just kind of... There's so much more to do. You really can call it the Zelda game, kind of.
For me, for old time's sake, I feel like...
I think most people would put it at, like, S or at least at A.
To be honest, we would have so many games here. At least 3, I would imagine.
Yeah.
One I don't imagine being that high is its remake for the 3DS.
Yeah, I think the remake was still really nice. I know since Nintendo started doing remakes, and a lot of them suffer from the fact where, like, especially in the Zelda games, where a lot of it is way too bright or just brightened up in the art style department. It kind of ruins the aesthetic of like kind of what the N64 had. And I know that's just because of the hardware not being able to give off that many vibrant colors, but I also feel like the darker tones of the game also do fit a lot better. And that goes even more for Majora's Mask, really.
Yeah, I mean, I will admit the 3DS remakes, they look beautiful.
They are great though. I will admit.
The game plays pretty much the same, but I will argue that they both suffer from two major flaws, that being they're very handheldy, as in they turned the Sheikah slates into literally you watch a video on what you're supposed to do next.
Yeah.
And then, I'm gonna be honest, I know people liked it, but the fact that the Ocarina is its own separate button and the iron boots are their own item, that makes the game too easy. It loses the charm of swapping between the menus and stuff.
I can kind of see what you mean with that.
But granted, yes, I will agree that does make the game, like more fluid to play. You don't have to worry about that.
It gives it a little more accessibility, especially with being able to get hints and everything. And I like that it's at least an optional thing too.
I mean, I would still rate it high. I liked it. Maybe not as much as Link's Awakening. I would say maybe here.
Yeah, that's completely fair.
But we're not done yet, because we also forgot about something. This came packaged with, once you beat the game for the first time, you got Master Quest. But that's not the first time it came out, for the GameCube Ocarina of Time Master Quest bundle. So now you can play Ocarina of Time on the GameCube with the GameCube controller, but you also have the option for Master Quest mode. And I'm gonna be honest, Master Quest is not bad. And the thing is,
have
actually,
much to say about it though, because I haven't tried Master Quest, or I have, but like I played it so long ago that I can't really remember too much about it.
So actually, the Master Quest in the GameCube cart is different from the one in the Ocarina of Time cart, because the GameCube one in Master Quest, I believe it's only the dungeons that are like mirrored and made harder. In Ocarina of Time 3D Master Quest, the entire game is essentially mirrored.
That is kind of an interesting concept though. Like I think mirroring the whole game, it might be a little redundant, but at the same time it is kind of a cool concept, like especially with how Twilight Princess had that, where if you had the GameCube version and the Wii version, it was like completely different because of the way Link holds his sword. So they literally made the whole game like flipped to the left or the right, depending on the version.
That is true, yeah. But other than that, I think Ocarina of Time on the GameCube, kind of just the same game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it suffers like the same remake flaws as Link's Awakening.
Right, because it literally is just a straight port of the N64 with an included hard mode now.
But compared to 3DS, I think I may rather want to play the 3DS one for the simplicity, and also the portability is better on that one.
I think the accessibility is a lot better with that.
And now, closing out the N64 era, we have the divisive Majora's Mask.
See, the one that I know a lot of people don't like, but the one that I really like.
This game is growing on me.
It's always been like one of my favorite games. I would put it in top 3 Zeldas for me.
I think he would be crouching on number 4 for me, but I'm gonna be honest, I feel like the more I play of it, the more I get into it. It
really is just, it's like a better Ocarina of Time for me, honestly.
Yeah, I think the one thing that kind of puts it down, but that's to be fair for a Zelda game, is it only has 4 dungeons. It has a very small map. And it is very heavy on pretty much you need to talk to every character, because one of them might do something, one of them might not.
Right. I think that's the problem it suffers from, is that it's a much more closed-in game than Ocarina of Time, and I do like that with Ocarina of Time you kind of have that more openness to it, but I also think that the linear kind of feel to Majora's Mask also helps it in a way. But at the same time, there's the whole like time mechanic, and that is not linear whatsoever. But I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's like you feel rushed to do stuff, but then when you realize, oh, I can just reset and do it again later,
Right.
and you learn like what actually gets affected, you can
Right.
learn when like, okay, it's not good to reset yet. I'll wait another 12 hours in game or whatever, and
Right.
then
I
do it.
kind of like that there's a micromanaging system when it comes to time and everything. But at the same time, I know that that whole mechanic is really supposed to invoke a little bit of dread, but I feel like once you really get into it, it just kind of might annoy you knowing that you don't have enough time to complete a dungeon or that you'll have to reset at a certain point.
I'm just
But I
gonna
think
say
other
it
than
now.
that,
I feel bad for those who don't know the Song of Reverse Time. I'm gonna put it
yeah,
here. Or,
I
would you say it's better
yeah,
than Link to the Past?
I don't know. I would probably put it under Link to the Past, just as like a compromise.
Alright, now here's where it gets weird. Because although I said I slandered Ocarina of Time 3D for having simplified mechanics, I want to say that Majora's Mask 3D is actually better.
Majora's Mask 3D was good. I know from what I've heard, it did suffer a lot in the remake just because of the whole Nintendo too much light when it comes to their remakes situation, especially for a darker game like Majora's Mask.
Yeah, that's true.
And then I know that apparently the AI and like the bosses also got like really nerfed in the 3D remake too.
See, I think it's been a while since I've played the 3DS version. The
Yeah,
only
like
thing
I
I
haven't seen
know...
firsthand, but I just know that a lot of the mechanics got nerfed or just messed around with in the 3DS remake.
Yeah, the only thing I know for a fact that they quote-unquote nerfed, but was made better, is the Song of Double Time. In the N64 version, you skip every 6 hours, but in the 3DS version, you can specifically pick what hour you want to skip to.
That is true. That is a nice tool.
Because
But
that
I think
that just
oh,
makes the
that's what it
cafe
was.
quest so much easier.
Right. I know one more thing though. I'm pretty sure the Song of Inverted Time in the N64 it would cut the time in half, but I'm pretty sure in the 3DS version it only cuts it by 1/3.
In other words, what we were saying about Ocarina of Time 3D is more relevant to this one in a sense that it is baby mode.
So
I
you
mean, I
could
feel
say
like
it
it's only
is,
fair to rank them
yeah.
the same then.
Yeah, because it really is. I think they suffer from the same issues, but at the same time, they still have enough redeeming qualities that they're good games to play if you want to play the N64 originals, just because of how accessible they are.
But I want to be honest. Out of these two games, I'd want to play this one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think it's the more well-made game, especially because it came later.
Alright, now for two games. Actually, we're about to go on a streak of games that I have not tried yet. Oracle of Ages. Or sorry, this is Seasons.
Yeah, I know these are hard because if I have played them, it's been so long. I know I played Ages.
I think I've played like the first 5 minutes of both and then just didn't find time to finish them.
Right, I've only played like so much of both of them.
Like,
But I think I remember. I don't know. I really can't say because I know Ages focuses a lot more on like puzzles and dungeons, I think. And then Seasons is a lot more like I don't know.
Because I think the only thing you really have to compare them to right now is Link's Awakening. Because
True.
I think, from what I remember, they are kind of the same look and feel.
Yeah, I think they're almost the exact same from Link's Awakening. Like in
Yeah.
terms of just the game design.
I feel like to be fair, they would just have to be here in the middle.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I would definitely still try them at some point.
Right. I just don't know enough about them to really rank them, but I know that they probably would be under Link's Awakening just because I feel like that had a lot more charm to it.
I think we technically do this one next. Four Swords Adventure.
Now, I wouldn't really have much to say because I haven't played this game.
I feel like the idea of having 4 links on a quest is good at first, but I don't really know how puzzles would work.
True. I know. I do like the idea that this is how they handled multiplayer, making it like a lore kind of deal, where like you literally have like a legendary sword that splits you into 4, and then that's how they implement the multiplayer mechanic. I do like the idea of that. But I think if I would put it anywhere, it would be at like C tier, especially because I just haven't played it.
So we put this, and I feel like well, actually, I have played the next one because I have this one. It is actually a port
and I have it too.
of Link to the Past for the Game Boy plus 4 Swords. See, now I played this all the time. Link to the Past mobile? Huge. Haven't played 4 Swords because how many Link cables do you need?
Right, it's like how many people own a Game Boy and have Link to the Past 4 Swords? I know we literally both have it, but I mean, just kind of a difficult thing to do now.
I feel like we can just scratch out the 4 Swords and just say Link to the Past mobile.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
It's also, I know there's also like bonus content in the game too. Like I'm pretty sure there's an extra like final dungeon you can do that involves like 4 swords.
See, the thing I remember about 4 Swords is in the Dark World, at some point in the game, on the right side of the pyramid, the door opens for you to walk in, and that's how you activate it.
Yeah, and then you can fight a bunch of Dark Links that have to do with the 4 sword colors, I think.
I mean, just going based off ports, I feel like B tier is our favorite place for ports.
Yeah, that'd be fair.
Is it better than the 3DS ones? I mean,
maybe not, because it is on a Game Boy Advance screen, and that does kind of nerf it a little bit. But
yeah,
I mean, having it portable is still like big though.
And then apparently there was also a 4 Swords Anniversary Collection.
And
yeah, I don't know.
This one, we just haven't touched it.
All right, stepping back into the big 3D, Wind Waker.
Definitely an A for me, because I'm nostalgic for this game.
This one, I'm gonna have more to say of it on the next game, but originally when I first played this game, I could not beat Forsaken Fortress. I just couldn't, because I didn't know what to do. You know?
Yeah, that's the only problem.
I got older.
At the very beginning, it's slow, and you don't really know what to do, especially if you're a kid. It's kind of hard to...
Yeah, I got older. I played it again. I finished it. And then there's this entire game afterwards, and this entire ocean to explore afterward. There's so much to do. Was it 49 tiles of game? It's crazy. I would say... Now, for me, it'd probably be back here.
Yeah, no, I agree.
See, now, I get choppy with this one. Wind Waker HD for the Wii U. Personally, I view it as literally the same game, but made way too easy. Because you have the auto sail or whatever that automatically sets your wind direction. That kind of reduces the whole point of using the Wind Waker.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair with the quick sail, I think. Yeah. I think it does, it removes the need for the Wind Waker, especially once you finally do get it in the game, but at the same time, it does add a nice level of leisure just because you don't have to pull it out and then change direction like every time you want to go anywhere.
Yeah, that's
but at
also
the same time,
same gripe over here. It's just Ocarina is a separate button now, but
I feel like you don't really need to change direction that much unless you're like out on the ocean doing like everything that there is out there, like with the treasure hunting and like finding Triforce pieces or even just navigating islands.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure. I still think it's nice just because the quality of life things are nice, but I don't know. I think it literally is just the same as Wind Waker.
I don't know. I'd probably have to give it another shot to really get into it, I guess. Now a game I have played and finished and I thoroughly enjoyed was Minish Cap.
That I also have actually finished that game, and I remember really liking it.
I like the concept of the game, the gameplay itself. I feel like the only gripe I have about it is you do end up spending a lot of time just going back and forth trying to either remember or realize what you're supposed to do.
It's true. I feel like a lot of the side quests are kind of hard to get into. And I know I definitely didn't get anywhere close to 100%ing it just because I was confused on what to do, and a lot of the collecting stuff was weird.
That and I think really the only gripe I had is the final boss took me so long.
I do remember that being, like, especially at my age, it was like ridiculously hard. And
But
I
other
didn't
than that, I
understand it.
will say that this was pretty good. Compared to other Zelda games, I don't know, actually.
I think I would put it, like, right between Ocarina of Time 3D and the Link to the Past port.
I'm sure if I played it more and understood it more and got, like, more involved with it, I feel like it could probably go, like, up here. But with, like, only one kind of rocky playthrough, I feel like having enjoyed it, it definitely makes a spot up here.
That's true, yeah.
See, now this is where it gets slightly dicey again, for me at least. Twilight Princess.
And unfortunately, this and Skyward Sword are like the big ones that everyone's played and everyone talks about, but those are the ones that I haven't played that I need to.
Yeah, I've played like maybe the first 5 hours of Twilight Princess HD. I haven't really gotten to like the core of it yet. But from what I played of it, it's an interesting Zelda game. It's definitely different, which I think is the point.
Yeah.
I feel like, to be fair, we would technically do this, but since
because I haven't even played the game,
I've
but
played
you have
this
a perspective on it, so.
And I have a feeling it would probably go about here. Here's fine. If I got more into it, I could imagine it being maybe here. But for now, I think it would go there.
Yeah.
Definitely has, I would say, maybe better gameplay than Link 2. I'm sure the original is probably the same.
Yeah.
But I think overall, to be fair, that would work. See, now with this one I have played, haven't finished, but I liked it for the time. Phantom Hourglass.
Both the DS games are just really nostalgic for me, and I liked both of them. But I was also kind of disappointed because they were handheld games, they were like really limited.
They really played into essentially the DS.
Yeah. It was really just the touch controls, the microphone, and it really was a game built just kind of to showcase the DS, I feel like.
I mean, I haven't played Spirit Tracks, but Phantom Hourglass I did, and I honestly like how it was made, but I will admit the temple where you actually use the hourglass,
yeah,
it's a little tense at sometimes, I would say.
Right, and it's pretty much the same for Spirit Tracks too, because it has a similar kind of system for that, where there's a tower, like a central tower that you walk into, and each of the floors is kind of like that with the temple and Phantom Hourglass.
I mean, I would be down to say they're just kind of C.
Yeah, I would give them like a high C, just because I loved them as a kid. Yeah.
Now we're back to Rocky for you, but man, Skyward Sword. I didn't play the original, but Skyward Sword HD. If it's the same feeling I had from Twilight Princess in the sense that it's practically the same game, I'm gonna say it right now. I know Skyward Sword is supposed to be the greatest Zelda game because it starts the timeline. It pretty much sets the foundation of everything else. It talks about the background of the Master Sword. It describes essentially Hyrule's creation, the lineage of Zelda family or whatever. But the game itself is so bad. It is entirely based on backtracking. And the backtracking is not just a simple, hey, go back to this town, to this town. It's, you go from this world, like, halfway across the map over to that one, and, oh, you have to go back because you forgot something. So now you have to go all the way back. Now you have to come back to the mainland to go to this world, and then...
That makes sense.
I
mean, I can't say much because I haven't played it either, but I know that's what a lot of people had gripes with, was just kind of the gameplay loop and just the problems with backtracking.
I will say it does have a lot of good gameplay mechanics, and I will prop Skyward Sword for getting rid of the motion controls, or at least giving you a different option. But I can't get over how tedious the game is, and I do not see myself playing it again.
I think design-wise, it's one of the most beautiful looking games too. Like it looks great, and I think the designs for everyone is great. But yeah, I feel like if the game isn't fun to play, then it kind of it ruins the whole design choices and everything as well.
See, now what was fun? God, these transitions are great. Link Between Worlds.
Link Between Worlds it's so good.
It's essentially a Link to the Past 3DS version, but it is actually a different game.
Like more. Yeah.
The Dark World is completely different. The entire gameplay mechanic is different. You now merge into walls, which is crazy.
Yeah.
New puzzles, new dungeon layout. Almost everything is new.
Mm-hmm.
Just set in a familiar world. I would argue that it's probably... Oh...
I don't know. I would give it like right between a B and an A. I would put it at an A just because it's such a...
it'd probably be down here, yeah. I mean, more portable Link to the Past, I'll take it.
Yeah.
See, now, I know you have experience with this one. And I think I've played a little bit of it. Triforce Heroes.
The only thing is, I honestly think Triforce Heroes is kind of mid.
I feel like it is...
I've only played a little bit of it, but like from what I've played, it's pretty simple in terms of the game design, and I think it really is just like what I'd imagine Four Swords would be, but I just feel like the design of the whole game and just the whole gameplay loop is really boring.
Yeah, I feel like this is the 3DS port of Four Swords.
Basically.
And, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it looked good. I played the special demo when it came out, and it didn't really strike me as something that would have longevity.
It feels so just kind of out of place. I don't know.
Sounds like it would be down here.
Yeah, maybe. I'd really have to play it again to get a better feel for it, but yeah, I feel like I just remember it being like a D-tier game.
See, now, this is where it gets controversial. Because I'm sure I have opinions that differ greatly from yours. And that's Breath of the Wild.
This is where it gets interesting. Because I know a lot of people would like to put it at S tier, but I really...
For many people, it's here immediately. I'm going to be honest, I can't put it that high.
I wouldn't either. I don't think it's... No, there's so much wrong with it. I know it's supposed to be like the whole reinvention of the Zelda gameplay, and it's supposed to be like this big world-breaking thing, and it was. Like, it was huge. But I just think as a Zelda game, it's definitely not the highest.
See, for me personally, I think what puts it down is the open world aspect. I know that's supposed to be the whole thing that, like, makes the game new.
Right.
And reinvent it or whatever.
But I think we're on the same page that it really needed more to it to be really a decent open world game.
That, and I'm gonna be honest, putting that away and looking at all of this, all of these have one thing in common that this one doesn't, and it's linearity. All of these games have a start and end point that you work through. This one, right off the bat, gives you a start and end, but it does not tell you how to get there. It's either you can go do this, go talk to these people, or you can just walk straight in if you really wanted to.
Right, and I feel like that's kind of the appeal, and it does give everyone kind of an option of how they want to play the game, which I feel like it does deserve credit for that, because, I mean, it's been able to garner like a huge speedrunning reputation, a big community for that, and just a lot of really cool mechanics in terms of how you can play the game. But I just feel like, especially gameplay wise, like with the open world concept and even with the story, I thought it was just really lacking.
Yeah, it tries to set up this great narrative, but I think
really it tries to be
it.
A much bigger narrative than it really is.
I would honestly put it here.
Yeah, I'd put it right between C and B.
See, now it's fun because we talk about Breath of the Wild, but then we have the sequel, Tears of the Kingdom.
The game that's not even out yet.
Are we to expect that the game can make it better? Or
I think
the fact
better.
that it's literally just the same game, but now there's technically a second world above it?
I think the only problem is that I know their whole plan was to add a lot more DLC for Breath of the Wild, but they just managed to have so many ideas that they made a sequel, and I
Ooh, that
feel like
sounds
this is
familiar.
kind of being forced. But at the same time, I feel like, especially from what we've seen from like the 10 seconds of gameplay that we have, I think I think it will be a better game than Breath of the Wild.
I'm gonna be honest, I probably won't play it, but the fact that Link now has a Fortnite glider, I don't know, that's kind of
I
cool.
mean, I mean,
I think I'd leave it where it is.
I think, yeah,
I have a feeling it
that's kind
has
of
a
where I
chance to
expect
be
to see
slightly
it.
better. Hopefully there's more story, but that's just me coping. Alright, moving on to spin-offs. The first one we have is debatably, I would say probably the best spin-off, because of how it's made and how it looks, and that's Cadence of Hyrule.
I will agree. I did play through at least most of it, and it's definitely not as like big as your average Zelda game, but I thought it was a really cool concept. I liked it.
I played the demo at least, and I guess I found out that I don't like the concept of rhythm games, or the way this one is
Yeah.
played.
That's
Uh,
another thing, is that it's just divisive because of the whole gameplay scenario anyways, like with rhythm and timing and everything.
but I will admit that it definitely sounds good, and it looks good.
Yeah.
There would work.
I think, yeah, right at C, very middle of the line.
We have the start of a type of game that personally I feel as though is not terribly enjoyable, but I'm surprised at the fan base that it does hold, and that's Hyrule Warriors.
See, the thing is, I do like Hyrule Warriors, but I also think it's really repetitive.
I feel like this game, or these types of games, are the definition of filler games.
Yeah, I can agree with
Because
that.
now Fire Emblem's doing it, and I think there are other games that have.
Well, because it started as Dynasty Warriors, and that was its own like IP, and then Nintendo got them to make like the Zelda spin-off, and then yeah, they were doing Fire Emblem as well. And I'm pretty sure that yeah, they are making another one.
See, I mean, I'm pretty sure the first one is definitely different than Ages of Calamity,
Yes.
in the sense that I feel like the first one, does it really offer much in terms of just hack and slash gameplay?
I think it is. I do like it just because I love all of the. I like a lot of the characters that are featured, and there's a lot that I really don't like either, but I like a lot of the homages that they take to older games too. Like a lot of the characters and equipment that you can use for those characters. A lot of it kind of pays an homage to some of the classic games, which I'm a fan of.
Because I
But
feel like Ages of
yeah, to get
Calamity
those
would be better than the first one, because this
right,
one
because it
actually
has
attempts
more of a
to
narrative.
tell. Yeah.
And Hyrule Warriors had a very, very basic narrative.
This is also me talking with, like, I want to say like 5 minutes experience of gameplay. Gameplay wise, I feel like you can't really enjoy it as much as a standard dungeon crawler. But yes, we have to look at the fact that it is a spin-off. It's not supposed to necessarily go in line with the main game. But I feel like in terms of these two, I would argue that. But like I said, I don't really know how to judge these two well.
Right.
Because in my opinion, these two are the same game.
Pretty much. I haven't played Age of Calamity, so I can't really say, but I know if it's pretty much the same gameplay with more narrative beats, then I would probably put it on the same level as Hyrule Warriors.
I mean, I guess this is fair.
Yeah.
And then we have, hands down, second S tier of the day, Link's crossbow training.
Absolutely S tier.
I'm gonna be honest, I've only seen gameplay. It actually looks kind of fun.
I played it when I was a kid. I had some friend who I went to their house and they had it, and from what I played, it actually was kind of fun.
Would I argue it's S tier? I mean, I don't know. Ocarina of Time's kind of lonely up there, but
I mean,
I feel like we can at least put it there.
yeah, that's fair enough.
And another Twilight Princess themed game is My Picross. That's the game where you have a grid and you have numbers for each row and column, and you have to fill in the ones accordingly, and you get Zelda-themed pictures. I like the idea of the game. I wouldn't play it.
Yeah, as a Zelda game, it's kind of I do like puzzle games, so it's cool, but
it's a puzzle game.
Would I ever play it?
But it's literally just art. You're doing it for art, so it'd probably be like. Honestly, it probably has more enjoyable gameplay than those two.
Less rage-inducing, at least.
And now we have... Shoot, this might be our third S. Hold on.
Third S of the day, Tingle's Rosy Rupeeland.
I think I've seen gameplay, and it looks... okay?
Yeah, I've seen like a little bit of gameplay, but I really have no idea what to say about this game.
But I think that's going to be the point for our last 3 games, which are the special Zelda CDIs. So we have Link the Faces of Evil, we have Zelda the Wand of Gamelon, and we have Zelda's Adventure.
I'm pretty sure I've seen gameplay of all 3 of these, and I'm pretty sure Zelda's Adventure is like really, really bad.
It's weirdly realistic looking.
Yeah.
For that, I feel like See, I feel like none of these are in line with main Zelda. The only thing we got out of the first 2 was a good age on YouTube, the golden age.
Great! I can't wait to bomb some Dodongos!
In terms of actual games, yeah, they are just not that good.
I want to say this, but this. Because I have a feeling I would actually like them over Skyward Sword. Because I'm gonna be honest, these first 2 actually look like decent-ish games.
I mean, yeah, since they're somewhat Nintendo games, they're at least somewhat decent, but I really don't know because I have to play them for myself or at least see gameplay now.
Yeah, I think this looks good.
Yeah, that works.